Let's welcome in our man, Matt Barnes. Of course, he's a Kings analyst, pre, post, and halftime. Matt, we're talking about Davion Mitchell. What has been your takeaway from Davion over the last handful of games with De'Aaron Fox out?
Very impressive. A young player to have that kind of defensive mindset and attention to detail on the defensive end. This is a guard-driven league now. So every night, last night it was Kyrie. Every night it's going to be someone different. But I like, and what I heard early on was, my brother Rico Hines, who's a coach over there, told me obviously he's like, this kid's attention to detail on the defensive end is something like I haven't seen for his age. But he's got a lot of offensive skill too. And once he gets comfortable with this NBA game, don't be surprised if he's, 18 to 22 point a game scorer. And I think, the more comfortable he's getting and understanding that everyone misses shots. I think he was a little gun shy early in the season. He missed 3 or 4 shots in a row and take them more. But now understanding that everybody misses, and the next shot's the most important shot. I think you're starting to see his offense come alive too. So, Davion to me is someone that could be one of the top two-way players in this game in the next handful of years.
Man, that's interesting, Matt, because coming out of Baylor, I thought the same thing, just kind of watching. I was like, oh, I know a lot of people talk about his defense, but he's got an offensive bag as well. And I was looking forward to seeing how it would translate in the NBA. And for the most part, if you look at his overall numbers, I was a little concerned with the shooting percentages, the field goal and 3-point percentages, free throw percentage as well. And I kind of got down on that, but seeing him in a bigger role, getting more consistent minutes and a more consistent role, you've seen those numbers go up. Yeah. You think it's as simple as that for him? Is he just getting in a comfort zone and getting more comfortable, and then you'll see him shoot at a higher clip like he is right now?
I definitely agree. That's what it is. As players, creatures of habit. 12 to 15 minutes and getting 3 or 4 shots, I know those shots are everything. But if I'm playing 25 to 32 minutes and I'm getting 12 to 15 shots, I know that I can miss my first 6 shots and have a good night because I can shoot, another 10 shots and shoot above 50%. So, numbers can be misleading at times because how players are yo-yoed out and minutes are limited. But when as a player that the coach believes in you first and foremost, and that at night in, night out, you're going to get a consistent amount of minutes, at least 25 minutes. The shooting percentage will differ because, like I just said, you can miss, your first 5, 6, 7 shots and hit, maybe 5 out of your next 8 shots and still have a fairly decent night. So I definitely think that, him just being more comfortable with this NBA game, more comfortable with his minutes. And again, like I said at the beginning, understanding that who cares if you miss? This team needs your scoring, so keep shooting. I think his mindset is starting to change a little bit.
I like that.
And it sounded like Tyrese's mindset was starting to change a little bit last night, too, when he talked to you and Morgan on the postgame show. He was like, yeah, I didn't play particularly well last night. And I know a lot of us walked away from that like, yo, Tyrese, maybe he didn't shoot well, but it certainly felt like he played well. And him and Davion seemed to have a nice little chemistry already together. And that's not a shot at De'Aaron. It just seems like these two seem to work well together in the backcourt. Is that out of necessity, or is that just like these two have games that complement each other?
I think it's more about the complimentary part because obviously I think Tyrese has kind of emerged as the best playmaker on the team, and that's with all due respect to De'Aaron. De'Aaron is a scoring point guard, So I think at times him and when Tyrese and De'Aaron are on the floor, De'Aaron hasn't figured out how to play off the ball yet. And that's not only going to help him, obviously, on this team, but, for the rest of his career, his ability to play off the ball and still be a part of the offense, even if you're not the one initiating the offense. You got to think De'Aaron's had the ball in his hands since he was probably 6 or 7 years old. So now you're coming off a career-high year in points, and you're getting all this money, and now someone else has kind of emerged as not necessarily a better player, but a better playmaker for your team. How do you adjust that? So to me, they've kind of – I don't think they've had enough time – when I talk about Tyrese and De'Aaron, to really kind of fill each other's games out and understand how they can complement each other. On the flip side, Davion is someone who can make plays, but he's more of a, let me just go out, get me the ball and I can go get a bucket. And that fits perfect to what Tyrese does because he's someone that, and it's weird though, seeing that he's running the point now, normally when people would get rebounds, anyone would push it up. But I see more often than not, like they're looking for him to initiate, to bring the ball up. Even when they get over half court, I saw Harrison Barnes kind of like run a dribble handoff to Tyrese one time, and I'm thinking like that's not normal, but from a standpoint of they know this guy's going to get the ball to you when you're open and make the right play. They trusted that. So, it's an unfortunate situation because, Kings aren't a very good team. De'Aaron's been hurt. These two have played well in the backcourt. Tyrese has kind of emerged and really kind of starting to find his own in his second season. So now you start hearing, okay, well, now De'Aaron is tradable and now this and that. So when he's done so many good things for this organization, and that hasn't translated into wins, but he's played really well for the organization. So it's kind of the tough business part of basketball, I think, is what we're seeing right now for this, this threesome in the backcourt.
Matt, do you think? I'm gonna ask you the tough question here, man. And I know you're gonna keep it a stack, and you're gonna give me that real. Do you think that this can work? When I talk about De'Aaron, Tyrese, Davion, do you think that can work, or at some point somebody's gonna have to go?
No, I think one of those guys will have to go. Because they're just. First of all, they're all kind of small. And Tyrese, although his offense has evolved, he's still working on being able to guard his position. Obviously, he plays the passing well. He's a really smart player, plays the passing well, good team defense. But as far as on-the-ball defense, this is a guard-driven league. So every night he's going to have his hands full. So you got to figure out, which one out of De'Aaron and Tyrese, who's, we know what they're going to get on the offensive end, who's going to give us something on the defensive end, and then who pairs the best. You know what I mean? And we've seen, obviously, in my opinion, and again, because I really like De'Aaron, but to me, the best pairing in the backcourt is the two guys that are playing right now. Because they just, to me, I think they complement each other better.
Yeah. That's interesting, Matt. Because we all know how good De'Aaron is. Like, what type of
incredible? Like
if this team needs a playmaker and you've got to move on from one of those three, like, is there a good fit out there for De'Aaron? And I'm not asking you to trade him by Thursday or even in the offseason. I'm trying to figure out, like, who benefits from the way that De'Aaron Fox plays?
I think there's a lot of teams that can use someone who can give you 20 points a game from the backcourt. Off the top of my mind, I would have to really sit and think about the team, but sure. I love De'Aaron's game. I love how hard he plays. I think he got off to a slow start. I heard that, he tried to put a lot of muscle on, and I think he was really trying to find his body at the beginning of the season. He's worked diligently on his outside shot and his free throw making. So you see him steadily improving. So there's always obviously going to be a market for someone like him. And I'm not even saying he's the one that's going to go. But I just think, three is kind of a crowd, and I think management has to figure out, okay, who are we going to move forward with? Because, if you happen to have to trade any of those three people, you're going to get someone quality back because all three of those players are real young quality.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I want to talk a little bit about a guy that is starting to catch my eye more and more, and that's Davion Jones. And when we saw him last year and even certain times this year, it was like, that's a nice little story. He had some promise coming out of college, didn't really reach that potential, but now he's getting the opportunity to be, a role player in this league or somebody that comes off the bench. And it seems to go up and up. My thoughts about him as a player every time I see him. I mean, last night with Claxton going off, Davion comes in there, kind of cools that down, and it also gives 12 points, 8 rebounds himself. Do you think that Davion Jones is the type of ball player that can be a starting center in this league? Has he kind of surprised you even in that respect?
Well, I got a chance to obviously see him with Golden State, and him getting a chance to learn from that crew of guys. Just the kind of IQ and skill and knowing how to play basketball. Because I feel this younger generation, everyone's really skilled, but I think not everyone, but I think just the lack of IQ on just basketball IQ on how to play off the ball and how to play in certain situations is down. But I really like Davion Jones. Super athletic, has a nice mid-range jump shot. Protects the paint, rebounds. It doesn't say nothing. He just does his job. He's not someone that needs attention. He just goes out there and does his job every single night. So I agree. I really like. And again, this kind of touches back on what I said with Davion. When you know that you're going to get, being the hardest thing as an NBA player is because really everyone can play. The hardest thing with the NBA player is just not knowing your minutes. Go in 2 minutes in the first quarter, sit the entire second and third quarter, and play 3 minutes in like that. Stuff is really hard to like, how do I get a rhythm? How do I get a groove? How do I fit in the flow of this game? But again, as you watch players and they start getting consistent minutes and knowing that, okay, I know at the 3-minute mark at the end of the first quarter, I'm going to go in, and I know that I'm going to play to like the 6-minute mark. It's like when you can get to a point as a player where you're getting like consistency. I know what I'm going to get. If I'm playing better, I'm going to play even more. But at least I know I'm going to get 10 good game minutes. That's kind of what the rotation is. I think that's when you start seeing players kind of maximize their ability, because anything else, like I said, if you're yo-yoed in and out, it's hard to get a feel and a rhythm. I don't care who you are.
Matt, I don't know if it was your intention or not, but I'm all about rebranding Black History Month, Black Future Month. That was legit.
I can't take credit for that. Was Kanye. I saw Kanye made that post, and I just thought it was super creative. It's Black Future. We moved the needle in so many different spaces. Obviously, we're not getting the respect we deserve with the history, and you see this. Everyone want to move school books out and want to do all this crazy stuff. So that's Black Future. Let's continue. Let's build on what we've already done, but now we're going to be recognized for it.
I love that. I love that. We'll give Kanye the nod for that, man. I love that. And by the way, man, I've been trying to tell your boy KC about Beverly Hills Cop for 2 years now, but he ain't. He
ain't seen it, Matt.
He's pushing it to the side for Boomerang and Harlem Nights, and I'm like, KC, you got to watch Beverly Hills Cop, man. But he won't do it.
I think outside of three was kind of pushed.
Yeah,
but I really think one and two are classics, man. And it's crazy. It's funny you say that, because when you watch those older movies, the stuff they say in those movies, like they couldn't get away with saying that kind of stuff today on TV.
Not at all.
The using the N word and you calling women B, using the B word for women. I'm just like, the 80s was wild.
Bro, have you watched Delirious lately?
Oh man, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You get 5 minutes into that, it's like, oh, Eddie, what you doing?
I'm gonna check it out though, man. I'm gonna check it out. They trying to tell me it's better than Coming to America, and to me, that's just blasphemy. We're not even gonna go there.
That's tough. Coming to America is a classic, but it's definitely one of Eddie's better pieces of work. I really like Beverly Hills Cop.
I'm gonna check it out for sure.
Man, we appreciate you, bro. Thank you, my man.
No doubt.
Take care, man.